Diet Barack Obama is at it again, except this time he has no good answer when put in a corner about this communist Zoran Mamdani, who he still refuses to endorse.
Right with what we heard from Senator Thune, he has offered Democrats to Democratic leader Schumer that they would have a vote on extending those Obamacare subsidies in negotiations if they agree to open the government. Is that something that Senator Schumer should accept?
I think what we need is decisive action. We have repeatedly made clear, Leader Schumer, myself, Democrats in the House and the Senate, that we want to sit down, find a bipartisan path forward to enacting a spending agreement that actually makes life better for the American people, as opposed to gutting the health care of everyday Americans. We need to reopen the government, stand by our hardworking federal civil servants, but we also, of course, have to decisively address the health care crisis that Republicans have visited upon the American people. We're talking about the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. Hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers are closing all across America because of what Republicans have done with their one big ugly bill. And now they refuse to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, and tens of millions of Americans, as a result, are about to experience dramatically increased premiums, copays, and deductibles that will either bankrupt them or prevent them from having the ability to go see a doctor when they need one.
But what Senator Thune is offering there is to have a vote on a Democratic or bipartisan plan to extend those subsidies so people's premiums don't go up, as they will now dramatically in January, if the Democrats simply agree to vote to have that temporary funding extension. Is that something you would be willing to agree with? You get your vote on health care, but you also reopen the government.
I think what we've said is that we will not support a partisan Republican spending bill, which is the bill that they continue to bring before the Senate and that emerged from the House, if that bill guts the health care of the American people. And that's the reality. Now, listen, there have been votes on the Affordable Care Act tax credits in both the House and the Senate throughout the year. And Republicans have repeatedly voted against extending those tax credits because they care more about George Santos and freeing him than they do about providing health care to everyday Americans. That's the unfortunate reality that we confront. That's why we need a change in position to actually decisively address the health care crisis that's impacting the American people. And at the same time, by the way, deal with the cost of living crisis that Donald Trump and his policies have made worse. These people promised to lower costs on day one. Costs haven't gone down. They're going up. Inflation is going up. The Trump tariffs are costing everyday Americans thousands of dollars more in expense per year. And now, because of their refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, people are confronting premiums that will double, triple, or in some cases quadruple in amount.
Okay, you do got to give it to him. I don't think he said once in that entire soliloquy he gave. But what does George Santos, a presidential decision to commute his sentence, have to do with actions in the House? And if it's a clean resolution that's already been passed in the House, not adding a bunch of extra things, why can't the Senate pass it? Again, it goes back to the same point that Mike Johnson has been saying, that Senator Chuck Schumer wants a political win in order to stave off the opposition push against him from the far left part of the Democratic Party. And Hakeem Jeffries just wants to lie and lie about how much Democrats are committed to Medicare and Medicaid and healthcare in general, just because of the Obama Affordable Care Act credits. Some of you guys have shared in the comments how much more you would be paying next year if those things are not renewed. But we also know that those are just an extension of a previous ruling. And we also know that in the One Big Beautiful Bill, they changed the qualifications for which you can get free health care or Medicaid, so many different terms, so that people have to actually showcase they're trying to work and they can't just keep freeloading by sitting at home even when they're able-bodied. And Leader Jeffries does not want to tell you that. He never brings it up.
So President Trump, by the way, was asked about the healthcare issue, and I want to play what he said. Take a listen to this.
Would you make a deal with them on the ACA subsidies?
If we made the right deal, I'd make a deal.
So, I mean, that's what he said. The president said he would make a deal, reopening the government for something on the Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act subsidies. Have you tried to call President Trump directly on this? I do know he picks up that phone pretty regularly. Have you tried to call him directly?
We have repeatedly and publicly and privately made clear to our colleagues on the other side of the aisle that we will sit down with them anytime, any place, with anyone, either at the Capitol or back at the Oval Office, to reopen the government, find a bipartisan path toward enacting a spending agreement that actually improves the quality of life of the American people, while at the same time decisively addressing the Republican healthcare crisis that's devastating people throughout the country. Working class America, rural America, urban America, small town America, the heartland of America, and of course, black and brown communities throughout America. But we haven't heard anything from Donald Trump or the Republicans over the last few weeks. They have gone radio silent since the Oval Office meeting. In fact, we know Donald Trump has spent more time on the golf course over the last few weeks during this painful government shutdown than he has speaking to Democrats on Capitol Hill to try to find a bipartisan resolution. And as you pointed out earlier with Speaker Johnson, House Republicans are now heading into their 4th week of vacation. They continue to cancel votes. They have no interest in doing the business of the American people, and that's unfortunate.
What is their infatuation with Trump on the golf course? Like Obama didn't go to the golf course. Okay, Trump goes more, but Trump's also like a single handicap, I think. Very, very good golfer. What does that matter? Can you see also in Hakeem's soul? Look through his eyes. Just looks like dull. Like nothing's going on there. Just robot.
I want to also ask you, obviously we're getting closer to that New York mayor's race. You still haven't endorsed Zohran Mamdani, have you?
I have not.
And why is that?
Well, as I've indicated, I expect to have a conversation with him at some point this week in advance of early voting, which begins next weekend in New York City. And we'll certainly have more to say about the mayor's race and about our Democratic nominee prior to early voting beginning.
What is it, though, that has held you back? I mean, usually this is somebody that won a Democratic primary. It usually wouldn't be that much of a question whether or not, a congressman from the city of New York, the Democratic leader, would endorse him. What's given you pause?
Well, we've had very good conversations over the last few months in advance of the government shutting down that were forward-looking, that were community-based, that were focused on, in particular, his efforts to make New York City more affordable. That's the right issue to focus on. It's why he decisively won the primary, and I look forward to continuing that conversation next week.
All right, Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, thank you very much.
What do you guys think Hakeem Jeffries is going to lay down for Mamdani when they have their meeting before early voting begins? Because Jeffries is going to get a lot of slack from normal Democrats if he endorses Mamdani. But if he doesn't, then he looks bad because he's not supporting the Democrat leader in New York City, the Democrat mayor. So what do you guys think he's going to say in that meeting? Because I think he's going to lay down the law, make some deals, make some agreements with him. Hey, if I endorse you, you got to do this. You can't be doing this. Because he's putting himself out there. But also Mamdani, he's got so much leverage. If he's winning that bad, that easily in the primary race, he could kind of say to Jeffries, like, look, man, you can give me your endorsement or not. I'm going to do this. I'm not going to cave. Because he's got all the power. Like, if Mamdani can win his race without Jeffries endorsing him, he doesn't need it. Which is insane to think about. And it shows you how far off the Democrats and lefties are in New York City. Who the hell would want to live in New York City if they are going to elect a real communist? A guy who wants to make everything free, make a lot of things owned by the city and operated by the city. Who would want to live in New York City? It's Sean Daniel here. If you want to see Jonathan Karl from ABC get handled by our main man Mike Johnson, check out this video right here, and I'll see you there.